Her plane goes down, she's by herself, she's on a raft, she has a bottle of water and a bag of Skittles, and that's all she has.
A true story?
No. We have a lot of students who tell us that they have very negative relationships with reading, and so it is important for them to see that there are some books that they might enjoy, not even just for an assignment, but just to read, and books that they can see themselves in. I want them to gain the skill of finding something that they would want to spend time with.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Thank you.
There you go.
Fauquier High School is not that far from Washington, D.C., but it's kind of rural at the same time. It's a nice community to be part of. We set up the library like a cafe or a bookstore. We want them to be able to find what they want and what they love to read on their own more. Today we had Mrs. Sova's 9th grade English class come in to do a book tasting.
They compared it to like tasting appetizers at a restaurant. I thought it was a fun way to like, instead of committing to a full novel, just kind of like seeing if you liked that genre.
A book tasting is the chance for students to get to experience multiple genres in one block. We put them in groups first because otherwise they want to chat with their friends.
4, 5, 6.
I saw lots of tables in a U shape, and they had different station numbers on them with different books for different genres.
On table 2, we have realistic fiction and action and adventure.
Miss Isaac and I picked books that either we've read or have been highly recommended by students, and we try to find ones that are on lots of different levels.
So I'm going to set the timer now, and then when you hear the beeper, it'll be time to get up and move to the next table.
They have about 5 minutes at each table, and students learn how to preview the book and decide if it's something that they would want to read.
They get to judge a book by its cover, which is always very, very exciting for them. So they'll read the back cover, read the first few pages, decide if it has any interest in them at all, and if it doesn't, it's okay. You can put it to the side, pick another one.
So if you're reading it does sound so good. When the author came to visit, I picked that one because of the way she talked about it.
Sometimes they'll look at a book and you can tell they're like, oh, I don't care. But then if we walk around and give a book talk about it, then they'll stop and they'll say, oh, maybe I should consider that. But I loved it.
It's good?
Yeah, it's really good.
I'll check it out.
Because it's more than just romance. It's like revolution and
Lots of action.
Lots of things going on.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. About 3 minutes in, the librarians would tell us that we should write down our thoughts about a particular book if we found one that was interesting and keep it in mind in case we wanted to check it out.
All right, it's time to move to your next table, please.
We usually try to collaborate with our teachers. Miss Sova brings her classes every 2 weeks, so we've gotten to know some of her students, so we can pick books with them in mind.
Yeah, I'm writing that one.
Yeah, right, that sounds amazing. They pulled a really good variety even within the genre. There was like graphic novels, there was verse novels. So some of our more reluctant readers were like, oh, I can read that. For their 4 years in high school, they're gonna get at least 3 or 4 books each semester that they have to read. But we want them to want to read. And if they like what they're reading, they'll actually do it.
When I go to a library next time, I'm probably going to do the book tasting idea, because most of the time I would just pick books off of like the author that I liked. But now that I'm discovering different genres, it's quite interesting.
For me, reading seemed like a homework assignment, but now I have gained that strategy of looking for a new book that I find interesting.
At the end, they are supposed to rank the books that they've written down.
Since you're checking out a book today for class, you would obviously want to check out that book that you ranked number 1.
When they have the attitude like, I don't want to do this, but then they take the book. It's always fun to see that happen. And then a lot of times they'll come back and say, hey, that book you gave me was really good. Can you help me find another one? Then you start building that trust.
They told me I could check out 2.